Hi there and welcome to the ukestuff channel and welcome to this tutorial video for what are you doing on New Year's Eve. It was recorded a few years ago by Zoey Deschanel and Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and I've loved that version for a long time. And since I picked up ukulele, I look at it every year, and a couple of years I decided I didn't even want to try it because it seemed like it was too hard. Well, at this point in my life, that's not too hard anymore, and I want to see what I can do to make this an easier song for you as well. It's a great old tune. So, what we're going to do in this video is, first of all, we're going to look at the chords you need for GCEA ukulele. Then we'll look at the chords you need for DGBE ukulele, and then we'll talk about strumming for the song. So let's begin with the chords you need for GCEA ukulele. I'll be using this Flight Diana. It is the Soundwave model, but I won't be using the Soundwave feature in this video. It has a cedar top, and then it is laminate walnut back and sides. Just a wonderful instrument. All right, before we go into the actual chords, can we just mention bar chords for a moment? Bar chords are feared by a lot of people, even from the original B flat that a lot of us are asked to learn. And you know, on the guitar it's the same chord as the F, or F on baritone ukulele. So a lot of people kind of get scared about bar chords. Please don't. And what I do is I even have my students in 5th grade start playing bar chords on the second day, and just as a warm-up at the 5th fret, and just practice going up and down the fretboard with that one finger, and just starting to get used to it even from early on without even calling it a bar chord or having to use it in a song. Down the road then it's really easy to adapt to. But here are a couple tips before we get to the bar chords later in this series of chords. First of all, I do suggest one finger instead of two because you're going to need all 3 fingers at various times with a bar chord. So I would suggest building up the strength with one finger. I would start at the 5th fret, although today you'll be doing some bar chords at the 6th and 4th frets today. But anyway, what you'll do is you will, at the 5th fret, cover all 4 strings with your index finger and then pull against the fretboard like you're going to launch something off of it, like you're going to pull back and release. But you're not going to do that, and then you're just going to lightly hold with the thumb. Early on when I was trying to start doing bar chords, I thought you had to act like a vice grip, and I think taught that. But the more I've played and the more I've learned and the more I've watched other teachers and the more I've watched performers who are not always great teachers, but they have valuable information, the idea of not having to press very hard on an ukulele is a really important thing to know with bar chords. The other thing that you should be aware of is that if the action is high on your ukulele, which means the space between the bottom of the string to the top of the fret, especially on this side of the ukulele, if it's really high up by the nut and you're trying to do bar chords, it can be really hard. So at some point, if you haven't, you should check what we call the action of your ukulele at the 1st fret and actually the 12th fret and see where it's at. If it's more than 0.5 at the 1st fret and it's more than 3 millimeters at the 12th, you might want to have that taken care of because it will help you with your playing. All right, now that we've talked about bar chords, let's actually go into the chords you need for the song. The first chord is the A chord. The second chord is a chord that isn't called for very often in ukulele music. It's the D sharp diminished chord, and it is built just like a G chord, but on strings 4, 3, and 2. So 1st finger, 4th string, 2nd fret, 2nd finger, 2nd string, 2nd fret, 3rd finger, 3rd string, 3rd fret. That's the D sharp diminished chord. That's the next chord you need. Then you get the D minor chord. I have seen some people say this is a hard chord for them, which kind of surprises me. Think about the D minor for a second. It's the F chord with an extra finger. It's a D minor chord. Then, I think my favorite chord of all, E7. 1st finger, 4th string, 1st fret. 2nd finger is on the 3rd string, 2nd fret. 3rd finger on the 1st string, 2nd fret. That's your E7 chord. Then your G7, a 1-finger chord, the A7, and then a D chord, however you want to play it. I play it with the 1st finger at the top of the 3rd string, 2nd fret, and then the other 2 fingers around it. Some people put all 3 fingers in a straight line. Some people will try to do a bar chord, leaving the 1st string open. Some people will do a 2-finger chord. Whatever works for you with D, except don't play it with your thumb. All right, then we're going to get into our first bar chord. Go to the 6th fret. Now, you probably have a spot on the front of your ukulele, a marker telling you where the 5th fret is. You might even have one on the side of your ukulele showing you where the 5th fret is. You want to be on the 6th fret. Then, what you're going to do is bar all 4 strings, get a clear sound, then add the 2nd finger on the 1st string, 7th fret. It's really the same as the full D7 shape from further up in the neck down there, but that's the F sharp 7 chord built on the 6th fret. Now, there are other ways to play that F sharp 7 chord, but I'm showing you the chord that Zoey Deschanel used in the original video. So then you get the largest jump of the whole song, going from that 6th fret F sharp 7 to a B7. Now, you can play B7 as a bar chord, but we're not going to because Zoey Deschanel does not do that in her original version of the song. So she jumps from that chord to the B7, built kind of like the E minor. So your first finger will go to the 2nd string, 2nd fret, 2nd finger to the 3rd string, 3rd fret, 3rd finger to the 4th string, 4th fret. Then we have a chord that shows up that's kind of a weird one. It's the G sharp 7 no 5, which means you don't have the 5th of the chord in it. So what you do is you play the first finger like you're going to play E7, and actually this is where it's going. It's going to the E7 next. The 2nd finger is going to go to the 2nd string, 2nd fret, and the 3rd finger is going to go to the 1st string, 3rd fret, like a C chord. That's the G sharp 7 no 5. Then we have another bar chord, the C minor chord. You're going to jump to the 4th fret, and then with your 3rd finger, play the 4th string, 6th fret. That's your C sharp minor. Then we have an actually pretty easy chord to play. It's the D sharp minor 7. It sounds really rough, but what you do is you bar all 4 strings at the 6th fret, and then you just play the chord, and that's it. It's just open strings on the 6th fret. And then the final chord is the D7. And again, there is the Hawaiian D7, which only uses 2 fingers, but Zoey Deschanel uses the full D7, so that's what I'm using in this video. You're going to bar all the strings at the 2nd fret, and then again, just like you did with the F sharp 7, you're going to add the 2nd finger to the 1st string, 3rd fret. And that's the D7 chord. Now let's take a look at the chords you need on baritone DGBE ukulele. I'll be using my Flight NUB 310 baritone ukulele. The first chord is the A chord. The second chord is the D sharp diminished 7 chord. First finger on the 4th string 1st fret, 2nd finger on the 2nd string 1st fret, then kind of some crisscross action, 3rd finger on the 3rd string 2nd fret, and then the pinky on the 1st string 2nd fret. That's the D sharp diminished 7 chord. That's how I play it. You could do it with a bar chord, but I always do it with 4 separate fingers, and that becomes a movable shape, by the way, that you can move up your fretboard if you'd like to. The next chord is the D minor chord. Then perhaps the easiest chord of this song, the E7 chord, followed by another easy chord, G7 chord, and then a bar chord, our A7. What you're going to do is put your first finger across all 4 strings right above the 2nd fret. Then you're going to pull against the fretboard and lightly support with your thumb. That should give you a clear sound. Then you add the 2nd finger to the 1st string 3rd fret. And that's your A7 chord. Then we get our D chord. And then another bar chord. This is the F sharp 7 chord. You're going to bar again just like you did with the A7 chord. But then you're going to add the 2nd finger to the 3rd string 3rd fret. That's your F sharp 7 chord. Then the B7 chord, first finger goes on the 4th string 1st fret, 2nd finger on the 3rd string 2nd fret, 3rd finger on the 1st string 2nd fret. Then another bar chord, the G sharp 7 chord. You're going to bar across the 1st fret and then add the 2nd finger to the 1st string 2nd fret. Now, if this chord is really hard to play, you might want to check the action of the nut. The action is the space between the bottom of the strings and the top of the frets. And if your nut is set pretty high, it can be really hard to bar at the first fret. So ideally, I check at the first fret. I try to have the first fret be at 0.5 millimeters. I try to have the 12th fret at, no more than 3 millimeters for playing in general. So that just gives you an idea of what it should be. If it's much higher than that, yeah, you might want to have it looked at if you don't want to look at it yourself, and have it adjusted because it will make playing so much easier for you. The next chord is the C sharp minor chord. It's just like the D7 chord, but up a set of strings, if that makes sense. Then I think maybe the hardest chord in this set of 12, which is a D sharp minor 7 chord. So what you're going to do is put the first finger on the 4th string 1st fret, the second finger on the 2nd string 2nd fret, the 3rd finger on the 1st string 2nd fret, and then the pinky on the 3rd string 3rd fret. That's your D sharp minor 7. It's a pretty chord, but it's a little bit of acrobatics to play. And then the final chord you need is the D7 chord, which we mentioned earlier in the song. Now let's just talk about strumming on this song. It's not really strict, and if you watch Zoey play on the original video, most of the time she's strumming with her thumb. So just so you're aware of what she's doing, the intro is down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up. That's it. Down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down. Pretty much it. And that gets you through the intro. It also happens at the end of the first verse. Now, in the verses, generally, you can just play down strums. You can even use your thumb, like Zoey does. So now that's when you get your jump to the F sharp 7 and then back down to the B7, then the E7. The other thing you could do is you can play a down up instead of just a down on the last beat before a chord change. Zoey does that in the song, and it works really well, especially on that high F sharp. And then she switches to the B7. So here's what that would sound like. 1, 2, 3, 4. So really, that's it in terms of strumming. There are a couple times where they'll take a pause or do something dramatic, and you'll just have to follow along with the chord changes for that to work. I also did record a demo of this if you want to watch it, so you can see it in another way. All right, thanks for watching the video. I hope you're having a great day. This is the end of 2020 when I'm filming this, so I hope you have a great 21 and a great New Year's. And I will be back soon with some more uke stuff for you.